Mother of a close friend of mine, of one of my producers, that brought me into the world of ALS and what this was all about. But once I got exposed to the world of ALS, I realized that the power of what the Les Turner ALS Foundation does for the patients, for the families, caregivers, on, it's really an unparalleled effort. This organization is amazing, and I will invite you to applaud for that for just a moment. Look, I got to be honest, when you do what I do for a living, you tend to get asked to MC various things and whatever. This is always a yes for me because I have just been so moved. Every year I'm at the walk and I do a special there and meeting the patients, meeting the family members. It's so powerful, so impactful that I want to do everything I can to try and make a difference as well, as long as you are doing the same. And the thing is, as you all know, you never know who might be afflicted with ALS, family members. I have people in the room tonight, people I went to high school with. I mean, it comes from anywhere and you never know. I will do one quick shout out because for many years I interviewed Steve McMichael, and many of you know the great Bears star also has ALS right now. And I was chatting earlier with his wife, Misty, and hey, Steve belongs in the Hall of Fame. So if you haven't signed the petition online, do that. Misty, can you just say hi? That's Steve's wife over there. I knew it was her when I saw her football purse. And you send our love. Well, we're here tonight to celebrate the work of the Les Turner ALS Foundation. It is the oldest independent ALS group in the country. Now, some of you may know this is the 45th year of the foundation. It's a milestone for which we are so grateful to the visionary founders who began this organization. Since its inception, the Les Turner ALS Foundation has advanced scientific research for the prevention, treatment, and cure of ALS. In addition to funding research and world-class clinical care, the foundation has always provided the most comprehensive care and support to people living with ALS and access to the most promising therapies. And none of this would be possible without you and your support. Those of us here and watching at home, yes, we have people joining us through the magic of Zoom and all that kind of stuff tonight. We all have a shared vision, whether you're here or whether you are at home. We want the best care for people living with ALS, and we want to see cures for this disease in our lifetime. Tonight, we will honor three remarkable pioneers for their significant contributions to the ALS community. Dr. Lisa Wolf of Northwestern Medicine. I guess you're familiar with her work. And Joshua Cohn and Justin Klee of Amylyx Pharmaceuticals. Now, we're going to hear more about their remarkable accomplishments in just a few minutes, so not to worry. But first, I want to welcome to the stage the Foundation's board chair, Ken Hoffman, and CEO, my dear friend, I love her, Andrea Pauls-Bachmann.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here to celebrate the ALS community. And thank you, Paul, for being such a great friend to the foundation. We have a very full house tonight. There are over 400 people in the room and joining us online across the country. We have people living with ALS, their friends and family, people who have committed their lives to care and research, my fellow board members, staff, and founders. And the common thread that unites us all are those three letters, ALS, a disease that many of us in this room are all too familiar with, and a disease for which each of us wants to see treatments and cures. We fight each day for the people living with ALS, just like the 20+ people who are joining us tonight, either here or online. We fight each day for the hundreds of people and families living with ALS in the Chicagoland area. And we fight for the tens of thousands of people living with ALS in the United States. And we also fight for each day for the hundreds of thousands of people around the world with this disease. For many of us, this is a very personal cause. I lost my mother, Harriet, to ALS, and Andrea, I get to that point every year, and it gets me. And Andrea lost her mother, Sally. It's hard to describe the way you feel when you first hear that diagnosis and the journey it takes you on. When our families were faced with the hard truths of the disease, it's safe to say we felt a bit lost, hopeless even. But luckily for us, we were introduced to the Les Turner ALS Foundation and this remarkable sense of belonging, support, and above all, hope.
Wow. I have to say, it is so wonderful to be together in person tonight. Seeing many of you for the first time in more than 2 years is just such a joy. As a community, we miss those little moments that only happen when we're together and we draw strength from each other. And to our first-time attendees, welcome. We're so glad you're here. When you look around this room, you realize how many people are lined up on your side against ALS. That means a lot to people living with ALS. Nobody in our community fights ALS alone. We, and many of you, know how devastating a disease this is. ALS can strike anyone in the prime of life. Some with a family member, many with no family history. The average survival for someone affected by ALS is only 2 to 5 years. And although ALS is technically deemed a rare disease, researchers predict that a person's lifetime risk by the age of 85 is only 1 in 300 people. You know, suddenly that doesn't feel so rare. The Les Turner ALS Foundation is honored to embrace this community and work to change the trajectory of this awful disease, but we can only do it with your help. Together, you have helped us fund 7 new research pilot grants just this year. Thank you. Together, you have helped us offer 16 new clinical trials and studies at the Lois and Celia ALS Clinic at the Les Turner ALS Center at Northwestern Medicine. It's a big deal. Together, you have helped us create new educational resources to reach people living with ALS across the country and beyond, including the My ALS Decision Tool and the ALS Learning Series. Together, you have helped us double our support groups and personalized support visits to people living with ALS. Please give yourselves a hand. This is a big deal. And moving forward, through your generosity and the leadership of gifted clinicians like Dr. Lisa Wolf, and the vision of drug researchers and developers like Josh Cohen and Justin Klee, we will continue to advance the state of treatment and research until we have fulfilled our shared vision of seeing a world free of ALS.
The Les Turner ALS Foundation was founded in 1977 by family and friends of Les Turner. Over the past 45 years, the Les Turner ALS Foundation has directly funded over $31 million in ALS research and clinical care at the Les Turner ALS Center at Northwestern Medicine. Thank you. As well as millions more in indirect funding. Our center brings together the worlds of research and patient support to ensure the best care is provided and the brightest minds are working to find cures. We are grateful to have many of those donors and sponsors who have helped make this center possible. Please give yourselves a big round of applause. Yeah, I know.
There we go.
Yeah.
We'll figure this out. We've done this once or twice before. Alongside our partners is our amazing staff. who are so dedicated in the fight against ALS and are committed to supporting people living with ALS every day. This unwavering dedication is really one of the things that makes the Les Turner ALS Foundation who we are. Recently, I want to share that we've had 2 longtime valued staff members retire. Each of them has brought comfort and expertise to people living with ALS and their families for many years. Deb Marin, our office manager, retired after 20 years of keeping all our staff and operations running smoothly and always answering the phone with her trademark, Les Turner ALS Foundation, Deb speaking. Whether it was a call to make a gift or a shoulder to cry on, Deb was always there, and we're grateful for her service. The other longtime employee who recently retired was Eileen Mindell, who many of you know, former ALS Support Services Coordinator and Support Group Facilitator, who retired after 25 years with the Foundation. During her time with us, she provided unparalleled expertise to people living and struggling with the effects of ALS. Neither Deb nor Eileen could be with us tonight, but we're happy that they're watching this from home. We miss you both, and thank you.
Yes, you are.
We have an awful lot to be grateful for, and many people who help us carry out this important work. But really, what's pushing us to act with urgency and purpose are the people who live with ALS every day. I'm so delighted that we're joined by over 20 people living with the disease who are either with us tonight or joining us online. You are our partners in this fight. Thank you. Paul, I believe you're up.
Just didn't want to step on your time there. Thank you so much, Ken and Andrea. Before I introduce our next speaker, I just want to take a moment to recognize some special, very special people who are in the room with us. Please hold your applause till the end. First, we have a few key sponsors that we'd like to acknowledge this evening. Joan and Paul Rubschlager, AbbVie, American Airlines, Amylyx Pharmaceuticals, Brainstorm Cell Therapeutics, Caterpillar, Mitsubishi, Tanabe Pharma, America, and Northwestern Feinberg School of Medicine. Thank you all for your generosity and that of all our sponsors tonight. Now, to the many researchers, clinicians, and healthcare professionals at the Les Turner ALS Center at Northwestern Medicine, thank you for your dedication, your hard work, and relentless innovation. Our treasured and loyal spokespeople who are here with us tonight, Lynn Bramer from 93XRT and best-selling author Jonathan Eig, who I've interviewed. Hi, Jonathan. The members of the board of directors who help guide our strategy and success, many of our founders, including Harvey and Bonnie Gaffin, the family of Les Turner, including Les's widow, Ina Turner-Jones. We are especially grateful to them for their truly visionary work to establish the foundation 45 years ago. And last but not least, the team responsible for the success of this event and for the delivery of our incomparable programming, the foundation staff. So please join me in thanking these dedicated individuals who are so important to the work we do. And now we go on to our awards. Rosie Riley is an active member of the Les Turner ALS Foundation family. She is also a quilter extraordinaire, and some lucky person will win her beautiful quilt at our silent auction tonight. I took a look at that. It's pretty beautiful. Please welcome to the stage, Rosie Riley. Rosie, do we have Rosie? Okay, she's come up. Let's all sing. Everything is rosy when we're with our Rosie. Hand in hand they'll mosey. Buy your billboard too.
Good evening. It is my pleasure to present the Harvey and Bonnie Gaffin Advancements in ALS Award, which is named for two of our founders, Harvey and Bonnie Gaffin, who are with us tonight. When Les Turner was diagnosed with ALS in 1977, he was frustrated by the lack of local resources available to manage the devastating effects of the disease. The state of research in ALS did not offer enough cause for hope. Les and his family and friends, including Harvey and Bonnie, were determined to change that. Together, they began a legacy that touches the life of every person living with ALS today, myself included. With this award, we are recognizing two individuals whose work embodies that legacy, Joshua Cohen and Justin Klee. Josh and Justin co-founded Amylyx Pharmaceuticals in 2013. Amylyx is centered around supporting and improving outcomes for people living with neurodegenerative diseases like ALS. This includes bringing awareness and understanding of the challenges faced by people living with ALS. In order to do this, Josh and Justin learned the importance of going out into the community, asking questions, and listening to people living with ALS and their families. They understand the challenges our community faces, like lack of treatments, gaps in care and reimbursement services, and need for better funding and awareness. As co-CEOs, all of their hard work and everything they have built at Amylyx is focused on ending the suffering caused by these diseases and giving people more time to spend with their loved ones. I am happy to present the Harvey and Bonnie Gaffin Advancements in ALS Award to Josh Cohen and Justin Klee.
Thank you, Rosie, for the warm introduction. As Justin and I are co-CEOs, and you'll rarely see us apart, we're going to give our remarks together. It is such an honor to be recognized by this amazing group here today. So before anything else, we'd first like to start with thank yous. Rosie, Andrea, and the Les Turner team, thank you not just for this honor and for including us and our team in tonight's celebration, but thank you for all the work you do so tirelessly every day for people living with ALS, their families, and the whole community. Getting an ALS diagnosis and living with it is a whirlwind beyond belief. And in the face of that, you rush to provide support, care, education, community, and so much more. It's truly extraordinary. To be honored by you all is incredibly humbling. And thank you for hosting this wonderful event, which is a powerful reminder of the incredible people committed to working together in the fight against this disease.
Thank you also to the amazing healthcare professionals here tonight. The doctors, nurses, physical therapists, occupational therapists, social workers, clinical coordinators, and everyone else who go to clinic every week to help people with ALS and their families. It's daunting to think of your typical day, and yet you continue to both help people today and to make major advances to help people tomorrow. You all are our heroes, and it's an honor to be here with you tonight and to be in this fight alongside you.
And thank you to everybody here living with ALS, and families, loved ones, and friends who have joined us tonight, both in person and virtually. You are truly our inspiration. It is your words, your fight, your perspectives, your innovations, and your community building that remind us all why we're here and where we need to go. When Justin and I started Amylyx a decade ago, I can share that we certainly never expected to be here today. We were undergraduates at Brown University and thought we had a potential idea to target the neurodegeneration that underlies diseases like ALS. We thought it was an idea worth pursuing, and so we set off seeing if our idea, which became AMX35, an investigational drug, might actually help people with neurodegenerative diseases.
As we were considering which disease to focus on, we were brought into the ALS community. What struck us instantly was not just the great need for new treatments, but also the incredible community fighting ALS every day. Despite our age and inexperience, we were welcomed in, and our first major community effort became the Centaur clinical trial of AMX35, the data from which has now served as the basis for regulatory applications for approval under review in Canada, the US, and Europe.
But with the positive data from Centaur, we were also faced with a major choice. Do we sell Amylyx or partner with a big pharma company, or do we build on our own? For us, the answer was easy and clear. The ALS community had invested so much in us. It was our responsibility to pay that forward and to build and push until ALS is cured. Over the past 2 years, Amylyx has now grown to over 200 people across the US and the whole world, all dedicated to advancing AMX35, partnering with the community, helping people with ALS and their families, and developing new treatments for ALS. Several of our team members are here today with us tonight as well, and we are so grateful they have joined us in this mission.
Which brings us back to this wonderful event. While it is our accomplishments that are being honored this evening, they have only been possible because of the tireless efforts of each of you and thousands of people in the ALS community who work to fight and change ALS every day. And so, we also promise, as your tireless efforts remind us every day, that we will keep doing everything we can to help the community today and also to work to ensure that one day ALS becomes a thing of the past. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Josh and Justin, my good. When I was your age, I was still trying to get a driver's license. My goodness. Because I flunked a lot. Oh, do you want pictures? Oh, okay. There we go. Good stuff. Congratulations, guys. So I think some of you did what I did. When my dear Rosie came up here and started to talk, I went and saw what the bid was on her quilt. And I raised my bid because she's amazing. And then one of you raised me. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Many of you know our next speaker as a neuromuscular pulmonologist at our Lois Insolia ALS clinic, and others may know him as a member of the Les Turner ALS Foundation's board of directors. And still others know him for his Take a Breath campaign last year to raise money and awareness of ALS. I've had the pleasure of interviewing him a few times. Please welcome Dr. John M. Coleman III to present the Hope Through Caring Award. John.
Okay. Well, I have the task of introducing Dr. Lisa Wolf, and summarizing her career over 20 years in about 3 minutes, so wish me luck. Over the last 20 years, Lisa Wolf has built one of the most comprehensive programs for ALS respiratory failure in the country at the Lois and Soil Clinic and in partnership with the Les Turner ALS Center. Early in her career, she understood that timely respiratory intervention in ALS would not only improve quality of life, but that it was also proven to extend life in people living with ALS. Lisa has published over 50 papers with a focus on respiratory support in ALS, and she is one of the most recognized physicians in the world in the treatment of respiratory care for neuromuscular disease. She has helped develop both national and international guidelines for respiratory care in ALS. In addition, she has worked with multiple international respiratory societies to make sure that the next generation of pulmonary physicians have had opportunities for hands-on simulation and training for respiratory support in neuromuscular disease. Lisa understands that there's a national deficit in respiratory care providers for ALS, and it is her mission and her passion to share her knowledge with others so that all people living with ALS get the best possible respiratory support. Lisa is a pioneer in respiratory medicine for neuromuscular disease, and as all pioneers, her career has evolved, most recently into advocacy work. In the ever-changing landscape of healthcare in America, there continue to be hurdles preventing people with ALS from getting respiratory support. In the last 3 years, Lisa has made multiple trips to DC to speak in front of Congress as well as Medicare to focus on the care that people need. Now that I have summarized Lisa's 20-year career in about a minute and a half, my remaining time can be focused on what she really cares about, right? The patients. So I recently asked a bunch of Lisa's patients if they could think of one word that they would use to describe her, what would that word be? The responses were overwhelming, and not surprising, right? The words I heard were devoted, passionate, inventive. She's like the MacGyver of breathing. Caring, an ALS warrior, an advocate, my champion, dedicated, supportive. There was one patient and family where one word was just not enough. And so I'm going to quote what they actually said. Simply put, my husband would not be here without Dr. Wolf. She has saved him in large and small ways over the years. Despite multiple ups and downs on this ALS journey, we were strengthened and comforted by Dr. Wolf's presence and unyielding spirit. Even in our darkest moments, where I just didn't think I could handle these new challenges, when I doubted that I could be the caregiver that I needed to be, Dr. Wolf looked me right in the eye and said without hesitation, yes, you can. Dr. Wolf has been the fiercest of generals on the ALS battlefield, and we will always gratefully and confidently follow where she leads. I don't think I can say much more than that, right? But I would like to finish up with a quote from the legendary great poet and philosopher, Miss Dolly Parton. If your actions create a legacy that inspires others to dream more, to learn more, to do more, become more, then you are an excellent leader. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to introduce my colleague, my mentor, my friend, this year's 2022 Award winner, Lisa Wolf.
Wow. So, thank you very much for being here. Like everyone else has said, it is such a pleasure to be in person. John Coleman has been not just a partner and not just a friend. I think that most of you probably know that John has been a hero getting us through COVID in ways that pulmonologists have been front warriors, and I want to thank him for his help with us too. I just want to give you another sort of summary of a lot of the things that John Coleman was just talking about. You know, the Lois and Solia Center, as part of the Les Turner Foundation, was established in 1977 because there was a desire to make sure that we did comprehensive wraparound care that looked at things like nutrition, occupational and physical therapy, speech therapy, etc. But in 1977, sadly, there was almost no discussion of support for respiration and breathing. It's kind of ironic because we had just gotten out of the polio epidemic, and at that time, we knew about iron lungs, but mechanical ventilators were huge. And realistically, there was no way to do respiratory therapy in the home. Our neurologists knew that respiratory complications were the most common cause of death in ALS, but really had no way to address it. It wasn't until 1990 that we had what we now refer to as non-invasive ventilation. And at that time, initially, it was only used in intensive care units. But by 1995, the devices had become smaller, more portable, they were easy to use, and they were available for home use. And so the Les Turner Foundation, and this is the story I've heard, is that in 1995, they sent Claire Owens and Eileen Mindell to the Cleveland Clinic to observe what could be done. And they came home and they told this to physicians like Rob Suffett and Scott Heller, who literally started writing on little squares of paper, "Give him a BiPAP machine." If you guys knew the complications that Dr. Coleman and I have right now, that would seem silly to you. But that's what they had, and that's what they did. And as Dr. Coleman said, to this day, we have very few trained pulmonologists who could really get our patients where they needed to be. So what did we have instead? We had our nurse advocates and our team from Les Turner Foundation. They taught patients how to avoid oxygen. They instructed the home care companies on what the needs were for patients with ALS. And by 1998, it became very clear to our then director, Wendy Abrams, that we needed a respiratory champion, a pulmonologist who could be committed to ALS and delivering complex medical respiratory care needs. But they had trouble finding a pulmonologist who could do it. But in 2000, Dr. Tipu Siddiq noticed that a young pulmonologist trained in sleep medicine had been assigned to the Thursday morning clinic in neurology. ALS clinic is Thursday afternoons. So he came up to me and he said, "Hey, I think you can do this. I think that you're trained correctly. I want you to just go see one patient." And from that one patient, I now have a full career. But, of course, nothing ever flies straight. The next thing that happened was we couldn't get me officially into the clinic. So one day, Wendy Abrams was in Ohio for brunch, and she was seated next to a woman she didn't know, and she started to make friends with her. The woman is Bella Freeman, who's right over there. She's my mother. And Bella said to Wendy, "You know, I think my daughter wants to take care of your ALS patients." And Wendy said, "That's interesting because I want her to take care of my ALS patients." She said, "What's the problem?" She said, "Well, the university and the rooms." And Wendy stood up and she said, "Those are my rooms." And when she got back, we had a full-time pulmonologist as part of the Les Turner and ALS Association. It has been my pleasure to take care of patients since then. We've learned things like it's not just about a BiPAP machine, it's about getting airway clearance so that we can prevent pneumonia in these patients. It's about being able to measure lung function in the office so that we have a good sense of the direction that our patient's care is going. But you know, at that time, like I said, I did not have any mentorship. And so frequently there were things that passed our way without realizing it. One was that it was very important for ALS patients to have safe egress from the home and safety plans in case power went out. And one time we had a loss of a patient just because of a simple construction accident that took away power. As I was very devastated by this, it was suggested to me that I get on a conference call with a group from the American College of Chest Physicians. This group consisted of approximately 10, this is still the number today, 10 pulmonologists throughout the US and Canada who were dedicated to the care of patients with ALS. I met Doug McKim from Ottawa, who taught me the mechanics of the lungs and ALS. I met Dr. Peter Gay, who has been my inspiration for advocacy. And I have to say, we have been joined in our advocacy effort by Andrea Pauls-Backman, who has been a wonderful partner in our advocacy work. These techniques and therapies have made a significant issue or a difference over time. But I will say that for those of you who are patients, and John Coleman will agree to me, we have the best respiratory support system a pulmonologist could ever have. Where's Stephanie Hesser? There's Stephanie. Stephanie's background was as a medical assistant. And Stephanie has been so committed to our patients. She's learned how to perform lung function testing. She's calculated the needs that our patients need in terms of ventilation. She can read overnight oximetries. She even can use cloud apps now to monitor our patients and adjust their therapies, bringing the strongest support that we can possibly have. The other partner that I have in expanding technology is Dr. John Coleman, who you just got to hear from. John had strong training in pulmonary medicine before he came to us, but did not have a background in ALS. But he's a committed Chicagoan, and he's committed to home-based ventilation and has become a very important part of the Les Turner board. He also has worked on important work this year for the American Health Quality Research Council, for CMS, and is a member of the technical expert panel for both the American Thoracic Society and the American College of Chest Physicians, all of which I am very, very proud to call myself his partner. And then the next thing that I wanted to tell you about was the fact that our technology has expanded. We can do things now that we couldn't do in the past. We do have some partners here tonight, I believe, from ResMed, and they're somewhere in here, and they have been willing to fund our research in this area, allowing us to have new devices and new pathways. In addition, I'd like to say that I continue to have the dream of improving access to respiratory care for nationwide ALS patients wherever they live. And our dream continues to be that we will train fellows and have them follow in our path and be accessible to other teams. This year, we've added Justin Fiala and Colin Franz, who have done a significant amount of work in this area, and we're so happy to have them as partners. And as we continue to do the clinical trials in this area, I also want to thank Senda Driss, where's Senda? Out here? You know, Senda and I started together as fellows. Learning at the same time, committed to this cause of where we are. And Senda, I could not have asked for a better partner if I'd tried. And then lastly, I'd like to thank my friends who are here with me today. I have the Ohio girls, I have the Michigan A-Phi girls, and I have my family. Especially my husband, Brian, who's out there. For any family that has a 2 full-time working family and children, we know that supporting each other is the only way that we get through, and your support has meant everything to me all the way. And lastly, I'd like to say I have this watch on tonight. This watch was my father's, and he left it to me when he passed away. No, Stephanie, he did not leave it to me so that I could get to clinic faster. What he did want me to know is that, my father was, I guess I was 14 or 15 the first time he took me to the hospital. He showed me what hard work was. He showed me what it was like to take care of patients. He showed me what the reward was. And what I want to say is that it's the gift of time that I've been able to spend with all of you that's made all the difference in my life. So thank you very, very much for the award, and thank you for allowing me to share the time with you.
Dr. Wolf, or if I may say, Lisa, it's no wonder you've got the cheering section you have in this room tonight. Your inspiration, your ambition, your love, it's unparalleled. Congratulations and thank you. And while I'm at it, can we please have another round of applause for all of our award recipients tonight? Joshua Cohn, Justin Klee, Dr. Lisa Wolf. And now I want to welcome back to the podium the Foundation's chair, Ken Hoffman, and listen carefully because he has a very special and important announcement.
Thank you, Paul. In the life of every organization, there comes a time to pass the torch. I've been honored to serve on the board of the Les Turner ALS Foundation since 2007. And to serve as its chair for the past 8 years. Although I will continue to remain on the board, my term as chair is ending next month. During my tenure, I'm very proud that the foundation established the Les Turner ALS Center at Northwestern Medicine, which has broadened the reach of our basic science research and clinical programs. I'm also honored that we have been able to greatly expand our support and education services, helping people living with ALS and their families every single day. There are many people who have helped me make this possible, and I could have not done this without the wisdom and support of the Foundation's Chair Emeritus, Harvey Gaffin. Harvey, I have always been grateful for your guidance, vision, and passion, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I want to thank my co-pilot, our CEO, Andrea Pauls-Backman, as well. She and I, thank you. She and I have worked exceptionally well together, and I'm thankful for her leadership under which the foundation has grown tremendously. I'm grateful for our dedicated board members, both past and current, and for our professional staff who produces all of our programs and created this beautiful evening tonight. So thank you as well. But next month, I'm happy to announce I'm passing the torch to the Foundation's current treasurer, Erin Reardon Cohn. Erin is an executive vice president of First Bank Chicago, one of this evening's sponsors. She brings a 25-year career in banking, a deep resume of nonprofit board service, and a passion for a world free of ALS. Unfortunately, she could not be with us here tonight, but she sent us her greetings. So please extend a warm welcome to the next chair of the Les Turner ALS Foundation, Erin Reardon Cohn.
Ken, congratulations and thank you for your outstanding service to the ALS community. The foundation has thrived during your tenure as chair, and it has been a pleasure to work with you. You have been a great friend to this community, and I know that will continue for many years to come. I am deeply honored and grateful for the opportunity to serve as chair. Like so many people in this room, the Les Turner ALS Foundation is personal to me. When I was a teenager, a close family friend was the very first beneficiary of the Les Turner ALS support services. I remember how much their compassion and dedication meant to him, and those qualities live on today in the incredible group of people who provide treatment, care, and support through the Foundation and the Les Turner ALS Center. We are all here tonight as part of a community. That one word, community, is the key to helping people with ALS navigate the disease with confidence. It is the roadmap to reaching more people than ever before with support services and the resources they need to live with ALS. It is how we can support an ambitious research program that brings us closer to a cure. Together, we have the ability to create a world free of ALS. Thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for this opportunity. I am excited to work with you.
Our congratulations to Erin, who will have big shoes to fill, but we have no doubt she will do great things. And you know what? I think Ken deserves a round of applause for the work he has done. Can we hear it for Ken? Now, for those of you who are joining us from home, around the country, around the world, for all I know, I hope so, our live stream portion is now going to come to a close. But you can make a gift by visiting hopethroughcaring.org. And please check your email in the next few minutes because you're going to get a special message from the foundation. So for those of you watching at home, stay safe, be well, and we do look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks for joining us.
She was diagnosed in August of 2019, and it was very scary. We didn't know what to expect. The greatest struggle is the fact that it's taken her voice away. I miss the sound of my wife's voice. I haven't heard it for 2 years now.
When I was trach in January 2021, I lost my ability to speak. I don't like having ALS, but I never ask why me? Because why not me? What makes me better than anyone else not to have it?
Started with cramps in my legs, and it took a while to figure out what it was. But in 2020 is when I was actually diagnosed. In the very beginning, it was all overwhelming.
Devastating. What else can you say? It just was very shocking, and everybody was devastated.
It was a lot of questions of what does this mean? What does she need from us? And what's next? How do we get through this and how do we move forward? When my mom had started her care at Northwestern, Les Turner was one of the organizations that we met with to better understand the resources we need, what's to come, and the emotional support that our family as a whole needs.
As a family, we have come together in order to navigate the diagnosis of ALS. You need patience. We were assigned a nurse with Les Turner. Her name is Julie. And so we meet with Julie once or twice a month to talk about the symptoms my mother is having, what her needs are, and to see what resources can meet those needs. And that has been so helpful, especially during those times where we were just unsure what to do next.
Julie has provided us a wealth of information, enlightening us to things that we didn't know existed. She informed us of grants for modifications to our home. We were actually given a grant so that my wife can have a curbless shower in our new home. That was invaluable.
Easton is my connection to the Les Turner Foundation. She'll ask about how I'm feeling, how are my symptoms, if I'm progressing.
Julie is well informed on what's going on at Les Turner. She has made sure I have all the information I need.
We stay in the know through their newsletter. It also highlights different fundraising events that they do, caregiver support groups. They also have a young professionals group that will connect me with other young adults whose family are going through similar circumstances, but then also are planning different events that support the Les Turner ALS Foundation's mission and their fundraising efforts. My mom and I have always been very close, but we've definitely gotten closer. She's always been so supportive of everything that I've done. While this isn't the way I imagined to support her, I'm just happy that I'm able to give back to her in that way.
My mother is my shero. I am right there by her side. Before her diagnosis, we talked every day. And since her diagnosis, we talk more. To see her every single day say, this is my journey and I'm going to keep walking. It's amazing.
It speeds up time so fast, and it's really just about spending time together, being present, just enjoy every moment.
My wife is undoubtedly the strongest person I've ever met in my life. There have been times when I've had pity parties, and she has also, but then we come together and glean strength from each other and keep on going.
I just want to say again how grateful and thankful for my family. My husband is my superhero. My heart is so full for him. Danielle and Mike I'm deeply grateful for as well. And the Les Turner Foundation. I can't sing their praise enough. Thank you, Les Turner. I appreciate you.